All right, so now that we've reviewed factoring, we're going to solve quadratics by factoring. So here are the steps, okay? First, make sure all the terms are on one side of the operation. You want it set equal to 0. If you have any terms over here, they have to be moved over all to the same side. Then you're going to factor, and once you factor, you're going to set both factors equal to 0 and solve them separately. All right, so this is a simple guess and check. Or anytime there's a 1 here, we don't need to do anything complicated. It's just simple guess and check. So we're going to have x times x, obviously, to get 1x squared. Here, we're looking for two numbers that multiply to give us 18 that differ by 3. All right? So if it helps, real quickly, you can write the numbers that make 18. And then which ones differ by 3. 6 and 3. Okay? So we put 6 here and 3 here. And remember, it's guess and check, not guess and hope or guess and pray. So check your math real quick. Make sure this works. Right? Now, 6 minus 3 is 3, and 3 minus 6 is negative 3. We want negative 3, so we need to have minus 6 and plus 3. That will give me negative 3. Now, that's equal to 0. Okay, we're not just factoring. So the next step is to take x minus 6 and set it equal to 0, and x plus 3 and set that equal to 0, and we're going to get 6 and negative 3 for our answer. All right? This is one of those really nice ones that's a difference of squares. Okay, we have one perfect square here, one perfect square here, and subtraction. So that means one of these is going to be plus, one's going to be minus, and all we do is take the square root of each term. That's it. And then we set them both equal to 0. And basically we're going to get plus or minus 7. You could write it as two separate things or like that. Doesn't matter. All right. Warning, alert. This needs to be over here, so we're going to add 8 to both sides. We cannot do this until everything is on one side. So 16 plus 8 is 24. Now we have 0. We may proceed. Now in this case, we're looking for two numbers that multiply give us 24 that add to 14. Okay? So they're both going to be positive or both going to be negative. This tells me right here they're both going to be positive. Has to be. It's the only way for it to work out. So the numbers that make 24 are 1 and 24, 2 and 12. You already got it right there. Don't even have to go any further. You know it's 2 and 12. Now, real quickly, that gives me 2. That gives me 12. That gives me 14. We're good to go. Now at this point, I just take both of those parentheses, set them equal to 0. So that's going to give me x equals negative 2 and x equals negative 12 for my answer. Again, this needs to be moved over. Be careful when it gets moved over, okay? Keep everything in order. So we want to have 2x squared minus 1x minus 15 right here at the end. Okay? Now this is not too complicated with there being 2 here. There's only one option. It's got to be 1 and 2. If you want to do the ABC method for this one, you can. Okay? But we're looking for factors of 15. Not too many of them. All right? So I'm going to start with 3 and 5. Now remember, they gotta differ by 1. So this gives me 6. This gives me 5. There's my difference of 1. But remember, I want negative 1 left over, so that means the 6 has got to be negative. Where did that come from? Follow the line, negative, positive. And now at this point, x minus 3 equals 0. 2x plus 5 equals 0. Here I get x equals 3. Here I get 2x equals negative 5, and then divide x equals negative 5 halves. All right, so some big numbers here, but remember, we always want to see if we can take out a GCF. So the only thing to check really is, does 84, or does 3 go into 84? Is 84 divisible by 3? And the answer is yes, 28. So I can make this much easier numbers to work with by dividing 3 out. All right. Now, we still bring the 3 down, but this is much easier to factor because now it's got to be x and x. I need numbers that multiply to give me 28 that differ by 12. So 1 times 28, 2 times 14, we got it. There it is right there. 14 minus 2 is 12. 2 minus 14 is negative 12. So 2 and 14. All right. I want more negatives. So I want the negative 14 and the positive 2. And then I just set each of these equal to 0. So that gives me x equals negative 2 and x equals positive 14. My 2 answers. All right, lots to do here to clean this up. We need to subtract 3x, and we need to subtract 1. This one's not going to be as nasty as it looks, because when I do this, I get 0 on this side, which I need. I have 25x squared. The x's cancel. I end up with minus 9. Well, the beauty of this is a perfect square, this is a perfect square, and this is subtraction. This is the easiest factoring there is. Difference of 2 squares. One's got to be plus, one's got to be minus. Take the square root of the first term, 5x. Take the square root of the second term, 3. And there's my answer. 5x minus 3 equals 0. 5x plus 3 equals 0. So I'm going to get 5x equals positive 3. 5x equals negative 3. And there's my answer. X equals plus or minus 3/5. All right. Now, here's a little hint. Even though it looks like it'll be easier to bring this over because you're only moving one term, it's much easier if our x squared is not negative. So I'm actually going to do this and move these 2 over. So the 12x squared is going to go in front and become positive. This negative 63x remains negative, and the negative 60 comes over and becomes positive 60. All right? Now, I want to factor something out. Obviously, well, 2 won't go into 63. 5 goes into 60, but not the other 2. 12 goes into 12 and 60, but not 63. Okay, so I'm going to take on 6. 6 goes into 12 2 times. 6 goes into 63 9 times. And 6 goes into 60 10 times. And the way I know I got the biggest number is there's no number that goes into 2, 9, and 10. So that's it. Okay, so at this point, the 6 days, I need 2 parentheses. Again, this is not too hard of one because it has to be 1x and 2x. Okay, so my factors are 10. My choices are 1 and 10, 2 and 5. That's it. And I need them to add to 9. So I do 5 here and 2 here. And here's where we guess and check. That's 10. And that's 2. Well, that doesn't work. 10 plus 2 is 12. That's why we use pencil, because this might happen. It's okay. Let's just switch the 2 and the 5. Well, here I get 4. Here I get 5. Oh, that gives me 9. That's what I wanted. Now pay attention. They both have to be negative to add up to negative 9. And now I'm ready to solve. X minus 2 equals 0. 2x minus 5 equals 0. Add 2 to both sides. add 5 to both sides, and then divide by 2. There's my answer. All right, this one. Now this one's a little tricky. This one's a little bit different. Notice I can take out a 3, but I can also take out an x. So 3x squared divided by 3x is just x, and negative 12x divided by 3x is minus 4. I'm actually ready to solve, but here's the thing. We have been throwing the numbers away outside the parentheses. We've been ignoring these at the end. But this is different because I actually have a variable. And we said set the parentheses equal to each other into 0. Whatever. If you want to put that in parentheses, otherwise, anytime there's an x, you've got to solve for it. So you have to set this equal to 0. It's always easy because if you just have an x or a coefficient in an x, the answer is always going to be 0. It'll only be different if there's a plus or minus. So this one's easy. It's 0. X minus 4 equals 0. Add 4 to both sides. There are my two answers, 0 and 4. So pay attention to this. If there's a letter outside the parentheses, you have to set it equal to 0. Most times people will just do this. That's the most common mistake, is to forget that other answer. But this tells you how many answers you should have. All right, two variable quadratic equations. There are times when the equation will look like this. Now remember, this is the same thing as y. Okay? Understand that the terms solutions, zeros, roots, x-intercepts can be used interchangeably. These are all synonyms. Okay? This also could be 0. So f of x, y, and 0 are all the same thing. Okay? Find the roots to the above equation. So we're basically just factoring this. We're finding the roots, the solutions, the zeros, the x-intercepts. So we have x squared plus 5x plus 6 equals 0. I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to give me 6 to add to 5. Well, that should be pretty easy. There's not too many choices. It's going to be plus 3 and plus 2 because those add to positive 5. Then I just set them equal to 0. And I get x equals negative 3 and x equals negative 2. All right, remember, this is the same thing as y, this is the same thing as 0. But notice, I can also take a 3 out, which I'm going to do to make it easier to factor. The smaller the numbers, the easier it is to factor. So 0 equals 3. We keep the 3. We're not going to do anything with it at the end, but we keep the 3 there. Now we need two numbers that multiply to give me 4 that add to 5. Well, we have 1 and 4, 2 and 2. There's my numbers, 1 and 4. They add to positive 5, so these are both positive. And now I just set them both equal to 0. X equals negative 1, x equals negative 4. And that's it.